All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on Healing with Amanda and Stephanie. Today, we have the pleasure of having Katrina here with us today. She's going to teach or tell us about her journey being in addiction, and then how she got onto the road to recovery and how she's giving back to her community now. So Katrina, go ahead and take it away and share with whatever you want to share with us, as little or as much. It's totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, well, I'm Katrina, and currently I'm a peer counselor. I work in the mental health field. I help give back as much as I can. Most of my clients are homeless, and I try to get together supplies for them and get them their benefits through DSHS. I'm kind of like a social worker and a caregiver all wrapped into one. And this journey of mine, so it began when I was much younger. My mother had scoliosis on her back, and it was really bad and very painful, and there was no way to fix it. So,
Mama's here.
okay.
I'm gonna get you $2.
I'll get back to you. Sorry. So my mother became addicted to pain pills, and we started using together when I was a teenager. I had my first drink when I was 13, and that was with my mom. And then 15, I started, smoking weed. And by 16, I was drinking and partying and doing all kinds of other drugs. And my mom started giving me some of her pills. And I started to notice things that my mother did, like she would run into the walls. She would try to run outside naked, and I'd have to grab her. I had to help keep the family together somehow and I had to get my license right at age of 18 because I had to be able to drive her around because she was too high to drive. At some point, I got really deep into my addiction with methamphetamines, and I became pregnant. And so I got clean from some of the drugs, but not all of them. And then on December 4th, 2009, or no, it was 2008, my mom was really high, and she and I had a really big fight. And right after our fight, I left the house and I saw her drug dealer walk in. And then I didn't hear anything until the next day. I got a phone call that she had died. She was in the passenger car of our Explorer, and my stepdad was driving, and my two little brothers were in the back seat. One was 10 and one was 15. And she died right in front of them from a drug overdose. This hit really hard to home to me. And at the time I was 3.5 months pregnant, and I became homeless. I didn't know how to stay clean. I'd never been taught that. I just figured that as long as I didn't touch meth, that me and my baby should be okay. And so I continued on with smoking marijuana and smoking cigarettes, or doing whatever I thought would be okay to do while pregnant. And then after I had my baby, it was all exciting and great. And then I went right back to my addiction, and I didn't stop until CPS showed up. CPS came and took my son away, and then I realized that I might have a problem. And my son was put into relative placement, And then he was moved from that to another relative placement. And then he was moved to a foster home. And I was trying to do whatever I could to get him back. And I was jumping through their hoops, and they definitely made it really difficult for me, but I didn't make it easy for them neither. I still, even though I was clean at that point in time, I couldn't quite stay clean, and I wasn't working on my program. I wasn't working on healing or being a better person or doing 12 steps or doing NA. I was still doing a lot of my old behavior. And so after I got my son back, I was okay for a little while, and then I ended up relapsing. And this time I thought that as long as I didn't touch hard drugs and I just smoked marijuana, occasionally did coke, you know, and drank, then I would be okay and everything would be fine. But it wasn't. And I ended up digging myself a hole of debt. I wrote bad checks to Fred Meyers. I got fired from my job because I couldn't go to work not high. I had to be stoned all the time. And I couldn't do my job as a parent either. And I was threatened to be kicked out of my housing program with Section 8 and also the apartment complex because I was caught with marijuana and I was smoking marijuana in my house. And so
and at that
I
time
realized-
it wasn't legal, so it had a little bit more punishment to it, right?
Yes. And not only that, but when I smoke marijuana, I don't smoke it for fun. I smoke it to get high as I can, and it's never enough. And it's to replace my meth addiction.
Yeah.
It's to replace my brokenness and my, you know, the feelings that I have in here that I can't deal with.
Yeah.
And so when I finally hit rock bottom, being told that I was going to be kicked out and everything, I realized I was going to lose everything. So I went back to Narcotics Anonymous and I got clean September 28th, 2018. And then I started on my journey of becoming a peer counselor after that. And within 3 months, I got my training and I applied at a couple different jobs and stuff. And it was a while before I actually got to become one. It wasn't until I had a year clean when I actually got to officially become a peer counselor and work for a company. I got my counselor affiliated license, and I had to write to them and explain to them why I had a misdemeanor drug charge and explain that I'm a peer counselor, so I have lived experience with mental health and addictions. So thankfully they approved me. I was so scared that they wouldn't. When I started I started in June 2018 at my job, and I've changed so much since then. And I've been able to give back to others that are really hurting. I take an NA meeting to my clients every Thursday, and they get to watch it on Zoom. And after the meeting, we get to share and talk about our strengths and hopes and like where we're at in our recovery. And it's actually the only meeting that they even get. And so it's really helpful and beneficial to them. So that's my story.
That's a very, very impactful story. And I think a lot of people can learn from that, and to know that no matter how hard life gets, you can change it to a positive. And you know, I'm so proud of you for making those changes and working so hard, because you really when you were so young, you got taught a lot of kind of bad habits when you were really young. And so as you grow and you think it's okay, then it's hard to replace that with good habits because you've been around it for so long. And And then I'm thinking like just the guilt of that big fight with you and your mom. And then that was probably the last time you got to see her. And I'm sure you had a lot of guilt with that as well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. And I'm sorry that things had to go like that for you, because I know how painful that can be, having to just kind of replay that over and over again. So do you have moments like that where you kind of replay that in your mind?
Yeah, especially when it gets close to December 5th.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and then knowing that she's not going to be here for Christmas, and
Yeah.
knowing that we were fighting before she died.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, your stepdad, he wasn't aware that she was high at the time, or do you think he was aware of it?
I think he was aware.
Oh, he just didn't know maybe how much she had taken, because
Right.
she actually overdosed in the car.
Yeah, her heart stopped
Okay.
while she was sleeping.
Oh.
And she, at that point in time, was taking in between 10 to 15 methadones a day.
And that seems like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't
her
know
pain
like the
tolerance
milligrams
built up.
Yeah. So at first, was she on like a methadone, like what do they call it? Like, did she go to the methadone clinic?
It wasn't a methadone clinic. She just went to a pain doctor that would prescribe methadone to her for pain.
Yeah.
And she also got street drugs that she'd mix with it, like Xanax. She'd get Xanax from her friend, and then she'd take that on top of the methadone.
Okay, gotcha. But hers started because of pain, right? Because of her scoliosis.
Yeah, because of her scoliosis.
Yeah, yeah. Oh goodness. Go ahead.
Your mom. How many years between you and your mom?
How many age? Mommy? How much is the age difference?
Yeah.
18 years.
I'm gonna go get the milk. Okay?
Okay. 18 years. Yeah, she had me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about your dad. Is he around in the picture at all?
Well, I have a couple different dads in my life. My biological dad didn't know that I even was alive until I was 3 years old. And then I have an adopted dad who kind of adopted me because he was married to my mom. And he's been kind of in and out of my life. They've all been in and out of my life, both of them. And then, of course, I got my stepdad, and he was, they had domestic violence. He would beat my mom up, and, I went through all of that with them. In fact, there was a no contact order on in between my stepdad and my mom. Like, he wasn't supposed to be around my mom at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wow.
That's another trauma that you had to endure being in the household, is having to witness that abuse from your stepdad.
And my brothers, they both have different dads, and the middle child, he is severely autistic.
Oh.
And he was taken away to his dad's, and his dad was also a DV abuser. So for the last 10 years, he was physically and emotionally abusing him. And he came to live with me about 4 years ago.
Oh, is he still living with you?
Nope. As of July, he got into Section 8 housing program.
Oh, nice.
And he has a live-in aide, and I still look after him, and I'm kind of like his representative and payee and everything, and I take him grocery shopping and stuff like that.
Nice.
Wow, really picked up that almost like a mom role, to your brothers.
Yes. On top of the 2 kids that I have.
Right. On top of your 2 kids. How old were you when you had your first son? Or
I
your
was
son?
19.
Okay, 19. Okay. I was just going to write that down. So, because you said you were, when she passed, you said that you were 3 months pregnant.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Did she know you were pregnant?
Go ahead.
Oh, I said, did your mom know you were pregnant?
Yes.
Okay.
She was really excited and she thought that I was for sure going to have a girl.
Oh.
Even though it ended up being a boy. I asked the doctor, can you please check again?
Check again. I think you're wrong.
I told him I'm supposed to be having a girl. My
Yeah.
mom told me it's going to be a girl.
Oh. Well, that's a lot, Katrina. My goodness, that is all. Oh, what about your youngest brother? Now, now he had a different dad, or was your stepdad his dad?
Our stepdad was his dad.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So he went with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He kind of keeps him isolated from us.
Oh, how old is he now?
He's 20.
Okay.
I haven't seen him in 5 years.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably hard.
It is. When my mom died, it just tore up the whole family. There's a lot of family that I'm not even able to talk to anymore because my mom's not here.
Oh. How many, so just talking about your mom a little bit, how many siblings does she have?
She has 2.
Oh, okay. All right. 2 siblings. All right, cool. So Stephanie, what are you thinking for Miss Katrina?
Well, a couple of things. I kind of wanted to go back to, I was thinking about your pregnancy because I remember you had said something that you weren't like 100% clean when you were pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Is there also, I mean, do you have any like feelings in guilt in that way as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
At one point, my mom convinced me that taking a methadone would be okay because I had such bad morning sickness. And so I took that and like I smoked a lot of weed.
Okay.
So just the weed smoking, I don't know what that could have done. And then with other people, you know, with their marijuana, it could have other stuff on it that I don't know about, you know, and stuff. And I'd smoke with just about anybody.
Well, and like you were saying before, when you smoked it, I don't know if you did it like that when you were pregnant, but you definitely wanted to be high when you were smoking it, right?
Yeah. And I got to the point where when I was 8 months pregnant, I started blacking out when I would get high. So I stopped smoking weed at the very last month because I started blacking out.
And you have a daughter? Is that your first daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, was that your daughter or son? I can't remember what you said.
So when I was pregnant, that was my son.
Okay.
That was my first child. And then my second child is my daughter.
Okay. And your kids are good? They're well?
Yeah. My son has some autism. He's on the spectrum. It runs in my family. And then my daughter's 1.5, so we don't know anything yet.
And also I'm curious about, you talked a lot about your, like the debt that you had created. I was really a lot of people when, and it could have come from early on in life, like a mindset about like money and abundance and things like that. I mean, tell me like in general, when you were growing up, like how your family felt about money. I'm kind of guessing where it all was going from, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are about like money and provisions for your family, like how you were raised and how that felt.
We were typically pretty low income, and my mom was on Section 8 housing for a long time until she married her last husband. And money was always hard to come by. It was always a huge stressor, and um, I like when I was 17 and I started working, I had a bank account, but because I wasn't 18 yet, my mom's name had to be on it. And so when she ran out of money, she'd go and get into my bank account and take money out without my permission.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
mom-
Yeah. So I bet that was frustrating
Yes.
because you felt like you were working for nothing.
Yeah. It messed things up, and I felt like I couldn't have a bank account anymore. I couldn't trust her, couldn't deal with all of that. So I just started cashing it out and carrying around cash.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. The word.
I spend it as fast as I got it.
Yeah.
So
Because
nobody else could do it.
yeah, so people are like that a lot of times when you are raised and you always have that kind of coming from the side of lack. When you do get it, you're like, oh my gosh, I'll never have it again. So I'm just gonna spend it all now.
It feels like it's in my pocket if I don't spend it. Because when I first got clean, I would spend money right away because I'd be worried that I would be
spend it on. Yeah, that's tough too. I mean, that's something I don't know if we've kind of thought about, Stephanie, in the past. I mean, how finances play such a big role. I mean, and I know it's something because, Katrina, Stephanie and I were developing a program and we want like the best of the best so that nobody, falls through the cracks. So when people do get a chance to go into our facility, our goal is that, there isn't any relapses, that we've kind of hit everything, every area. Yeah.
That sexual abuse comes up a lot for people.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to me when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And it happened to my mom when from the time she was 2 years old until she was 10 by her brother. And that was one thing that she'd bring up a lot when she was high, and she would start crying about it. And so it seemed it was something that she never really dealt with, and could have been a big reason why it was so easy to go into addiction and numb those feelings and those she would have nightmares and stuff about it, and it was still a trauma for her, like PTSD, where she would have reoccurring things that would come up for her that would remind her of it.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, sorry, my alarm's going off.
Didn't you say that happened to you for you personally?
Yeah, so there's another part of my story I didn't even mention, but I lived in China for 3.5 years when I was a teenager because my mom was having such trouble with me. She sent me to go live with my grandma, and my grandma lived in China at the time. She was a teacher and she traveled the world and stuff. So I lived there for 3.5 years with her. And while I was there, I started my wild streak, and I would go and visit my mom every summer and Christmas and all the holidays, and so I was still like going and, hanging out with friends from down there. And then I'd come back up and I'd be like, oh, there's drugs here too. And then I realized there was no drinking age for the bars. And so I started going to the bars. And one night I got really high, and a guy took advantage of me and drugged me back to his house. And I started screaming and stuff. And it was a really bad experience.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you married now?
Yes.
Goodness, girl. You've got a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do for self-care, Katrina?
I like to take,
Yeah.
and sometimes I just hang out in my car, and I like watch shows that I like to watch, and it helps distract me if I'm not feeling too happy about things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to get my nails done and stuff like that. So like
Uh-huh.
that regular self-care, or like at night when in order to be able to go to sleep, I have to play meditation music.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I get too anxious.
Yeah.
My thoughts just kind of swerve and keep running in my mind.
Yeah.
Or I'm on my phone and can't put it down, and then I can't sleep, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I plug it in further away from my bed.
Right. Okay, I'm writing some things down here.
How long has it
noticed-
been now since you've been clean?
Huh?
Oh, how long has it been now, Katrina, since you've been clean?
3.5 years.
Mm.
Yeah. I also noticed that like we can trade addiction really easily. So like when I first got clean, it was cookies, soda, like
yeah.
just and coffee. I was a caffeine addict, and that's really hard to kick, and it's not good for my body, and my doctor told me to stop drinking coffee, and I still can't stop. And me and my sponsor trying to talk about it, maybe if I pick up my step work, because I've been procrastinating on my step work, but it's supposed to be healing when you do your 12 steps.
Yeah. So have you completed your 12 steps, or is that, are you in progress with that, or how do you do that?
So I haven't done my step work in over a year.
Mhm.
I mean, life has really hit me lately with my daughter and just COVID and everything. So like I haven't done it.
Mhm.
But I got up to step 4, and then I kind of just haven't gotten through it all yet. I have to open up those old wounds, and I just haven't felt ready to do all of that yet, because I
Mhm.
have to like make my inventory, and
Yeah.
and it just feels like there's so much inventory and not enough time to write it all, and how much do I really write, and then I just get too obsessive over it and want it to be perfect, and then I don't want to do it because it's not going to look the way I want it to.
Right. That makes sense. I think that's
Yeah.
with anything too, like even with like, for example, Stephanie and I wanted to help people. I was like, let's start a YouTube channel. And we're like, well, how are we going to do that? And it's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? I'm like, who cares? Let's just start it. Because if we don't start it and we want it to waste all this time to like have it be perfect, we're never going to do it because we don't know what perfect looks like. So we just started.
Yeah.
You don't need to have it perfect.
Yeah. Just have to get it out of your brain so you're not thinking about it like all the time. But we're hoping that we're going to release some things from you today, and we're hoping that with the release that it will help with some of those thoughts and those obsessive thinking patterns and things like that. One of the things that came up was the addictive heart energy. I want to release that from you. Well, I think we just did.
Those are not allowed.
What do you say?
I said those yawns are not allowed.
Well, you want me to yawn because it means your energy is going through me and it's releasing. So it's a good thing. It means that your energy is shifting and it's getting out of you. So we just released the addictive heart energy of anxiety. So that's good. Now, so people, when they go through traumatic experiences in life, they get what's called a trapped emotion. And the trapped emotion is a negative ball of energy that gets stuck in your body, and it can cause pain, it can cause illness, disease, sickness, just a lot of different things. And it doesn't leave your body until you kind of face it or recognize that it's there and then release it, right? So before I'd say, oh gosh, my elbow hurts, my elbow hurts, my elbow hurts. And I didn't know. I'm just like, gosh, I don't know why my elbow hurts so bad. But now, since doing energy work, I'm like, wait, is there a trapped emotion in my elbow that's causing this pain? And sure enough, there usually is. And I release it and then my elbow pain goes away. I mean, it's just kind of weird like that. So, but one of the things I want to do, because you say, you know, you have like these racing thoughts, and what came up for me is it's an emotional resonance. So instead of having this anxiety, so instead of having this anxiety trapped in this little negative ball of energy, it's actually a negative emotion, but it rings your entire body. It's almost like when you hit a bell and you have that the that that ding. It's like that, but it never goes away. So your body's always like vibrating like like this. So what I want to do is I want to release that emotional resonance. Okay, good. That's gone. Yay. All right. Yeah, Stephanie's yawning too. So, and I think I got it again. So, oh gosh, that was way deep in there. My gosh, that's so good. And your higher self is so our consciousness is 5 to 10% of us, what we think, what we do, but our subconscious is that other like 90 to 95%, and it's your subconscious kind of rules you, right? So your subconscious is saying, tell her at what age does she get that anxiety. So I'm going to check to see at what age, and I'm thinking as a small child, so under 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So at 4 years old, so you've been hanging on to that emotional resonance of anxiety since 4 years old, where your body has literally vibrated like constantly. So at a lot of times after I release an emotional resonance, excuse me, people have reported that they felt like a sense of calmness just kind of go over their body, because that emotion that was like ringing the bell in your body for such a long time is no longer there. So you can let me know if you experience that, or if you feel a little calmer, a little bit better. Okay, so oh gosh, we're just releasing so much, and I don't even know what I'm releasing because it's just releasing. Oh, Stephanie, what did you come up with?
Actually, I hadn't planned on going here, but I was really stopped here. So it's on the discordant energy chart.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything on this chart that I should be mindful of for Katrina? And I did get mistrust, and that totally does not surprise me. And there was so much from what your story is, all the trust issues with your mom, and I feel like you knew that, I don't know, is mom going to leave me? Is this the right direction? Like you would always question her in your own mind, but think, no, I should trust her. It's mom, right? I should trust her. And I think that's something that's always set with you, and been really tough to get around that, even though the discerning, I really truly believe, Katrina, in you, that you had a discernment. It just wasn't allowed to develop because you always let mom kind of lead you in that way and say it was okay. So I think we should just go ahead and release that, because I asked if there was anything else that I need to know when I asked if it's all due to mom and just your upbringing from early in age, and it was a yes. So I'm just going to go ahead and release that discordant energy of mistrust. So we're just going to 100% completely release the mistrust from back in childhood, from beginning with her mom, 100% completely and permanently.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
And we did release that. The other thing I kept getting was fear. I'm getting this word of fear. So I wanted to go on, because at the first I was looking on the trauma energy chart and I got overwhelmed. And when you hear the word overwhelm, I mean, I'm sure that all your life you've probably felt that.
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, honestly, Katrina, I think you've been somewhat of a mom for a while. You've kind of had to. You picked up some pieces where really wasn't yours to pick up, but you had to. So it's been something that you've probably felt for a long time. And that was on trauma energy, because I felt like there was a lot of areas of trauma for you. I mean, a lot. And I think just thinking about the trauma can be very overwhelming in itself. So I already had that one that I was looking at, but also on the same chart, which I was just actually getting to. I just want to check here real quick.
How you feeling, Katrina?
Feel good.
Okay, let us know if there's any kind of
In my heart area.
you're what? I didn't hear you.
I'm feeling a burning sensation in my heart area.
Okay, all right. So let's write that down.
The other one I get on this trauma energy chart is parental approval, which again does not surprise me. I mean, your subconscious knows that you've been looking for that parental approval all along in life. You know, am I doing the right thing? But yet there's such a mistrust of wondering if you are doing the right thing. And I don't know, it feels like you probably had to really make some really tough decisions all along. And been
Well,
led down.
and that parental approval would be from mom, from biological dad, adopted dad, stepdad, grandma, you know, all of those parental figures, you know, in your life. So, all right.
Yeah.
I don't have approval for my grandma. My grandma won't speak to me.
She won't speak to you. The one that lives in, does she still live in China?
No, she moved to Arizona now.
Oh.
And we had a falling out during the CPS stuff.
Yeah.
She's the one that called CPS on me.
Mhm.
And she wanted control over the situation. And she was mad at me because I reported some of the neglect that, so my biological dad had my son. He was severely neglecting him, and they were trying to just brush things off and whatnot. And my grandma didn't want him moved, but I was worried for his safety. And the guardian ad litem stepped in and asked the courts to move him. And I felt like it was the best thing for him to be moved. And unfortunately, he ended up in a foster home because of it. But the foster home was really good to him and took really good care of him. So like, I don't regret my decision, but my grandma angry with me and thinks that I did it out of revenge or something on my dad. She doesn't think that I had my son's best interest at heart. And so she won't talk to me. To this day, she won't talk to me on the phone. Sometimes I'll send her an email and she might respond back, but it's usually pretty rude or not very nice things that she says to me. And me and her used to be really, really close. And
Is
I
that
feel like,
your mom's mom?
yeah, it's my mom's mom.
Mhm.
Just give me a chance, really.
Mhm.
She won't talk to me, and I don't have her approval.
Who do you have for support, Katrina, besides your husband?
My adopted dad married this really awesome lady named Teresa, and him and Teresa, of course, didn't make it. They had a divorce because my dad relapsed, but they were both in the AA program. So I consider her to still be my stepmom, even though she's not anymore.
Yeah.
And she offered to officially adopt me, but at the time I was 25, and I'm like, there's no point. But
Right.
you are basically my mom now, so I'll call you
Yes.
mom. You know? So she's just like, you know, my former stepmom, and she is my support network. And
Nice.
she remarried and to this really nice guy, and they're both really nice and supportive. They're in AA. Her husband has like 20 years clean, and she has like 35 years clean in AA and alcohol.
Nice.
and they understand it and what I've gone through, and I mean, not everything. They understand the struggles of addiction, which is really important, you know,
Yeah.
and are very supportive there since both of my kids were born. They don't have kids of their own.
Okay. Well, it's really nice that you have both of them that you can talk to, and they're not so they're kind of the outside looking in, so they can see all that goodness in you, where sometimes family, they know you, so like, oh, you're just going to do this again, or you're going to do that again, or they're just waiting for, you know, waiting for you to make a mistake, where other people give you a little bit more credit than that, and it really helps you to stay on the right path and clean and sober when you're, you know, when you're happy and making those good choices. I'm really glad that you have them in your life.
Yeah.
Katrina, I want to go back to your grandma just for a second. I feel like that's a really pain thing for you, that you really do desire her love. I mean, you really love this woman, and you desire that, and in that rejection that's coming back to you, that it's, I feel like it, because my heart just hurts when and I don't know why it's this relationship, but I mean, I've kind of gone over some of the other parental people that you've had in your life, and it seems like it's her. And I'm wondering if it's because it's like one of those pieces of your mom that, you know, gives you just a little bit of peace inside. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think so. I think that I don't understand what's going through her mind. I do believe that she might have a illness too, maybe autism or something, since autism runs on her side of the family. And maybe that's why she's not able to see that I've changed. My adopted dad even emailed her and told her how good I was doing, and she, you know, won't respond and won't say anything. And me and her had a very codependent relationship where I was dependent on her and she was always helping. And so I sometimes wonder if it's because she can see that I don't really need help, and so she doesn't want to be involved because I don't need help. I don't know if that's why, but like, I just want to know why. Like, what is the reason? Like, you know, because that's my mom's mom. She should at least talk to me on the phone or something. And she's just not giving me the time of day.
That's where that burning sensation in your heart was coming from, is that heartache. So I want to, okay, so you have a broken heart wall that's coming up that we need to release. So let's release this broken heart wall. And so we have column A, odd row, even row, row 2, row 4, row 4. Okay, so anger, bitterness, guilt. So there's that guilt we were talking about before that keeps popping up for you.
Yeah.
So guilt. So do we need to know anything else about this guilt? No. So we're going to release.
I treated my grandma terribly when I was using. When I was, I think I was 16, and I wanted to go out and get drunk, and she slept in front of the door and wouldn't let me out. So I knocked her over and she fell down.
Oh.
And then I owe her like $8,000 too from that time when I was 16, because I ran up the phone bill. $8,000. I didn't know that I was.
Calling America? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And I was on the phone for hours. And I thought that because it was going through, that it must be free or something. I just
well, you just didn't know.
I thought, because we had to get phone cards to be able to call America, but then one day I tried to just dial it, and it worked, and so I had no idea that like it was still charging us an arm and a leg. I didn't understand that had never been explained to me. I just thought that I found a secret way to call America, but in fact I was running up my grandma's phone bill like really bad.
Wow. Okay. Okay, let's see what else is in here, because we just released the guilt. Let's see. Column B, odd row, row 1, row 3, row 5. So this is conflict. So is this an internal? So internal conflict. Do we need to know anything else? We don't need to know anything else about that, so we're going to just release it. Okay, good. Okay, anything else with this broken heart wall? Okay, so column B, odd row, even row. Row 2, so we have failure, helplessness, hopelessness. Okay, so this is lack of control. Okay. So lack of control. Do we need to know anything else about that? So we're going to release that totally, completely, and permanently. That's a good shift. Okay. Anything else with that broken heart wall? So, all right. So we just released that broken heart wall. So that's awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay, how you feeling now, Katrina? You know, oh yeah, you're yawning. Yay! we'll take it.
Okay.
That's good. When you're yawning, you're releasing. Okay,
Yeah,
Stephanie, what do you have?
Well, I was just gonna tell her too that when you have like a heart wall or a broken heart wall, these are, like she was saying earlier, you know, those traumas and things like that, and they'll just kind of protect you. And they'll stay there so that you can't really get out. So I'm curious too, maybe some of the way you're communicating with your grandma, that might shift now for you, because those that heart wall that has been released now, and you've taken those different balls of energy that have been preventing you from basically getting through, you know, and having like the real Katrina be able to, you know, talk to her. I think that love unreceived that I got earlier for you and grandma, that can shift. And I think you just need to just let that, I would say absolutely do not give up on that relationship. I think
worry about her with COVID and everything. She's older, and if anything were to happen to her, like, I don't even know if anybody would tell me.
But you know how to get a hold of her still, right? Even by email?
Just by email.
So I don't see any reason for you to, you know, just not even spread your love that way. Share your love, share pictures of your kids. You know,
I've been sending her pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Just, and let her see for herself how good you're doing. You know, maybe she has trust issues as well.
So, Katrina, one of the things is when there's a conflict in family, I always see like how you resonate with each other. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi. Hi, baby. So I always like to see how you resonate. So like if I say, how does Katrina resonate with grandma? I get a 100%. Like you resonate with her, you love her, you know, there isn't anything bad on your part. But when I say, well, how does grandma resonate with Katrina? I get a 9%, and we want that at 100%. So I'm going to see what emotions, what trapped emotions are in there causing that for you to resonate, or for her to resonate so low with you. We'll release those, and maybe that could help as well with that relationship. Okay, so we got column A, column B, odd row, row 1, row 3. Okay. Oh, goodness. So we have confusion, defensiveness, grief, self-abuse. So this is self-abuse.
What does that mean?
Well, I'm gonna look in my phone and see what exactly the definition is for you. My phone was like on 1% when we started, so I've been trying not to get on it, but it's charged up a little bit now. So this self-abuse. So let's see.
I go right to the abusing the self physically. Includes mistreating the body by use of addictive substances.
Well, it's funny because I get illnesses can be a form of self-abuse. So how's your grandma's health right now?
She said she was in the hospital last year, but she hasn't told me anything. And she's she's always been overweight, and I think she might have diabetes.
Well, this one says illnesses can be forms of self-abuse, and then it gives the example of I don't deserve to be healed. So maybe she doesn't feel like, almost like maybe she didn't do enough for you, so she's just gonna like not be a part anymore. Like she's, there's, or she feels like she can't do any more for you. Is, I think that's what it is. Yeah, like she feels like there's nothing else she can do for you. That's why she just kind of leaves it alone. So the self-abuse for in this case, and there could be two, Stephanie, so it could be yours and this one.
Yeah. I'm getting yes on both of them.
Okay, so this is self-abuse, just meaning that she doesn't deserve, she can be healed or deserves to be healed. And then what was yours was physical?
Well, it's a physical, but it doesn't necessarily have to be with an addictive substance, because it's not that. It's the, it can be like
Just, well, mistreating the body.
yeah, lack of sleep, proper diet, definitely proper diet, nutrition. Yeah, and maybe that's why, because it definitely comes up in here when I said any of those things. I got a yes for proper diet, but lack of sleep, I get a no. Yeah, so I think
Okay,
it's
so
probably her physical health, maybe her proper diet that's
yeah,
a form of self-abuse.
yeah, yeah. So, all right, so let's release the trapped emotions of self-abuse, and then the illness is self-abuse, and then the physical abuse pertaining to having a proper diet. So we're going to release that totally, completely, and permanently. Okay, so let's see. Just with that, did we raise it? No, we didn't raise it to 100. So let's keep going. So column A, odd row, even row, row 2. So anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, worry. So this is worry. So we don't need to know anything else. We're going to release the trapped emotion of worry totally, completely, permanently. Okay, that was a really good shift. Still not up to 100. So column A, odd row, even row 2, 4, 6. So we have humiliation, jealousy, longing. This is a longing. We don't need to know anything else. We can release the trapped emotion of longing totally, completely, and permanently.
It's
Good.
be amazing if my grandma like wants to talk to me after.
Oh, it would be so amazing. Okay, are we at 100? We're still not at 100. Well, the longing could be that she longs for you, but she doesn't want to get hurt, right? So she doesn't want to put herself out there in fear that if she opens herself back up, then what if something bad happens again, and then she's opening herself up for that. So it's probably a protection mechanism for her to protect herself. Yeah. All right, so let's see here. We have more here. So column B, odd row, even row, 2, 4, 6. So pride, shame, shock. Excuse me, guys. Okay, this is worthless. So the feeling of being worthless. Do we need to know anything else? No. All right, so we're going to release the trapped emotion of worthless totally, completely, permanently. Okay. That's a good shift. Okay, so now are we at 100%? Okay, so then when I ask, how does grandma resonate with Katrina? We get a 100%. So hey, that's better than the 9% we started with. That's good.
You'll have to report on that one.
Yeah.
I'll keep you posted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be great to find out.
Right. And one thing you could do, Katrina, is before you go to bed tonight, just say, what would it take for grandma to call me? And just leave it at that. What would it take for grandma to call me?
Yeah.
And then just let God and the universe kind of, conspire together and work on her. Okay. All right, let's see. What else did we need? Anything else of that burning sensation in the heart? Nope, that was it. Those things did that.
You see, Mama?
There's something else here. So let's see. Column A, odd row, even row, row 2. So we have anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, worry. So this is worry. Let me see if, is this your worry? So this is your worry. Do we need to know anything else? No? Okay, so let's just release the trapped emotional worry totally, completely, and permanently. Okay. Anything else? No. Do you get anything else, Stephanie?
How do I keep dying?
I didn't. I actually asked if I could release anything else and I got a no.
Yeah, I gotta know too. That sounds like, but
So-
sometimes I ask and then it's because you're coming up with something. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's your turn. So no.
Well, I asked at that point, I said, well, is there like an angel card or something like that that I could share with her? Because I didn't feel like it was like a complete no, but it was a no on trapped emotions. So I did ask and I did get one. And this one is called, it's New Beginnings.
Nice.
Oh, I like that.
Beautiful.
And what it says is, thank you, angels, for opening up the doors to change. I am ready. And let's see if we can tell you more about that too.
Okay.
Well, if my glasses would work. A new opportunity will be coming your way, and your angels are helping you to walk through the door with ease. You may have felt resistant recently or even been stuck, but here is the new beginning you've been seeking. Take the chance to claim freedom you desire. Allow yourself to detach from the dramas or challenges that have been standing in your way and to move forward.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's really awesome.
Well,
I
as you were
went through a lot of
talking,
drama today, so
you
that-
did. Oh no.
yeah.
Oh. Well, one of the things that came up, Katrina, is when Stephanie was talking, something came up from a past life, and this was from 20 past lives ago, and it was actually your maternal mom from 20 past lives ago came in because she needed healing and it was humiliation. So then I asked if she needed anything else. She said no. So at least that's healed, and you probably you absorbed that from a past life and brought it in all those lives. So it was really important for you to release it now because it no longer serves you. All right. So is there anything else? Nope. Okay. I'm going to see how many days it's going to take you to process this, because we all have our own divine energy. And when we release these trapped emotions, then your body has to get back to its new energetic energy flow. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 10 days to process what we did today. All right. Now, in like a few weeks, is it okay if we do like a quick update with you so that we can, show our viewers and you can let us know how
Yes.
you're feeling and I would love to do it like in about a month just to kind of see if there's been some shifts and if there has been something to kind of report on. And in the between time, if you notice a shift or if you notice some kind of shift, just let us know, right? Let us know and say, hey, I've noticed this. And there's nothing too small to report. I mean, we're appreciative of everything. Okay, so how are you feeling now?
I feel good.
You feel good? Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah. That's awesome. Our goal is to get you kind of like where you can feel like you can breathe again, because I feel like you're kind of feeling constricted, like it just feels really heavy, like in your heart space, and that's because we have to remove those other heart walls that you have
In layers.
and it's in layers. So we can't do it today because you're we did that really big one of that broken heart wall. And so we're gonna do, next time we'll check you for a few different things. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And at that time, whatever else pops up, we'll release that at that time as well.
Thank you,
This
Katrina.
would be really cool to do in person.
What do you say?
I think this would be cool to do in person.
Yeah. And you can come over anytime, and I could, do your
Okay.
heart walls and, whatever.
Yeah.
No, we can. And I also, because you've had so many traumatic experiences, I would love to run your bars. And that's another modality that I do. It has to be in person. And so I would put you on a massage table, and there's acupuncture points on your head that I would literally run your energy, and it acts like as a delete button. So it's very relaxing, and a lot of things can shift for you. So there's been so many people that have never had it done, and I'm like, just come over and I'll do it for you. And they have called me later and said, oh my gosh, you can't imagine, what has transformed since having my bars ran. So yeah, so it's pretty exciting.
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Yes.
On grandma, because if there's no shift there, if we don't see enough of a shift, I think we should do like a full Court of Atonement for that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. So let's write that down.
Yeah.
That's exactly what full Court of Atonement with grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's put mom in there too.
Yeah, sure.
And then, I mean, really, we could put everybody in there. So Katrina, there's this thing that Amy Jo Ellis created. It's called Full Court of Atonement. And what happens is you can, instead of working with people on the physical earthly plane, you actually talk to their soul, and you put their soul in, you actually take them to court. And so it's kind of like, okay, what's going on here? And you just ask the souls to all get together with their angels and their guides, and you just say, hey, there's an issue somewhere, can you guys hash it out? And usually there's some really good shifts and releasing with that, because it's not on like on a physical level, it's on our soul level. And so you just grab everybody that you want in there. And I think we should add, anybody and everybody that we can think of, your dad, your stepdad, your, adopted, biological, whoever you want to put in there. It can be really good, and it can be healing for everybody. So as we heal just one trapped emotion from you, we heal 350,000 people. So that's just one. So as we're healing you, we also heal your children, and we also heal your lineage. So it's really exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. So, and Stephanie's close here too. She's over on Eastern Washington. So we do it on Zoom, because that way we're all together and we don't have to, meet in the middle or anything. It's like, let's just do Zoom. So yeah, so awesome. So we will do the access bars. So Katrina, you just message me like when you have time, and I'll see where I can fit you into my schedule. Because it takes about an hour. Yeah, it takes about an hour. So full Court of
I
Atonement.
have vacation time next week.
Ooh, okay. Well, yeah, I'll try to get you into my schedule. So yeah, we'll try it out. Let me stop the recording. Thank you guys for joining us again for another amazing story of triumph and perseverance. And we're just so thankful that you're here with us. We thank you for taking your time out to hear Katrina's story, and stay tuned for part 2 to Katrina's story, so that we can see what we did today made a shift in her journey going forward. So thanks everybody.